Hi guys, Ian here with
Hey
Coach
guys,
Rick,
hey guys, Matt here as well.
and welcome to the first episode of Dream Talk. We're excited to launch this new weekly series, me and Matt, and we're gonna talk about this week for the first ever episode, the camping game on March 6th. So, little recap of the game: the first game against Lancaster Thunder. Tony Acre is our leading scorer and rebounder. He has 17 points, along with uh, 21 points with 17 rebounds, followed by Corey Huff with 17 points, and then Albert with 12 points. Unfortunately, we fall short, 121 to 79, but we picked up the second game, got the victory against the New York Black Eagles. We won 90 to 82. So yeah, Coach Rick, what do you think about the team's performance overall?
Well, Ohio's a really good team. They're one of the top-notch teams in the PBL. We knew we were going to have a battle. Um, they beat us a lot on the transition. We weren't getting back quick enough on defense. That first quarter, they picked up a couple easy buckets and got off to a good start. Um, so hopefully we can remedy that going forward. Um, we were focusing in large part on offensive rebounds, which we realized very quickly that with Ohio's speed, we needed to be getting back. That actually became more important to us, the getting back in transition than the importance of those offensive rebounds. I mean, Tony can take care of the offensive rebounds almost single-handedly. Um, Turnovers that hurt us. We've been plagued with turnovers. Again, we're working on resolving that, and just realistically, Ohio's buckets were falling and ours weren't, and we got in a hole early on, and we couldn't seem to get out of that.
So, Coach, thanks for being with us here on our first episode. Big picture, we're 2-4 on the season at this point. You just listed a few things that were a focal point on Saturday. What's the number one thing that's got to be better moving forward to get this team back to 500 and get it playing at the level we want to be playing at heading into the postseason?
Um, that's a good question. We have to take care of the ball better. We just can't have turnovers. The speed of the game is so fast, and the quick transitions. We have to do better on that. We have to get back quicker. Um, there's different styles of basketball, and um, you would think basketball is basketball, but in this PBL, what I realized very early on is the different style of basketball. Ohio is a different style than Western Pennsylvania. New York is a different style, and maybe it's style is not the right word, but for instance, uh, in this league, they don't call very many fouls, and the style of basketball that we all grew up with in our area, um, you know, you get fouled, you go to the line. This is. I mean, if you ever get a chance to watch down low in one of these games, it's brutal, and it's a very physical game. And talking about what do we have to do uh, moving forward, uh, what we can control, we will certainly attempt to control. We have to take better care of the ball. Um, we have uh, our players have certain roles that they play, and in some instances, it's an adjustment period. Maybe it's not the role they're used to playing, or maybe it's not the role that they typically play or that they want to play. But we have assigned roles so that our five players out there on the floor are working together. I mean, I'm seeing it, and I'm sure our fans are probably seeing it too. That this season is more of team style, And that's what I've been encouraging right from the start. We're going to play together as a team. And that means 5 moving parts that work together. And our guys are adjusting to it, and they're doing quite well. But it's a work in progress. And, I just think that, you're going to see good basketball. You're going to see good team basketball. And so I think moving forward, Matt, to answer your question, we're going to work on what we can work on and what we can do, and just play it out.
Yeah, you talked about the roles there, and I've heard you talk about those roles a lot in the past. When all of that is working together and all the players are staying within their roles, executing at a high level, what's the ceiling? I mean, there's a lot of individual talent here. What's the ceiling for this team, do you think, when everything's going according to plan?
Well, I'll say I'll just back up here a second. Basketball is the greatest team sport. That's why I love it. But also one of the board games that I grew up with is the game of chess. And if you make the analogy on a chessboard, every piece has its assigned move, and your opponent who you're playing, they know exactly what those pieces are going to do. Well, in the past we've put 5 terrific athletes out there on the floor, each one in their own right a very good basketball player. But now this season, what we're trying to do is get them to work together. And I go over with the players their strengths. And I don't really dwell much on the weaknesses, because I want to talk about each player's strength. And I say this to our guys: all I'm asking you to do is go out there and do what you do well. There are so many different things in basketball. This is why I love it, because 1 second you're on offense, next thing you know, you're back playing defense. And it's just, and the speed of this game, like I've talked about, it's unbelievable. And until you sit courtside and actually see these athletes, it's a very fast pace. And our guys who can do several things pretty good, but they can all do something really well. And so what I emphasize is just go out there and do what you do well. That's what I expect of them. That's what their teammates expect of them. And if we can get these guys all working together, doing what it is that they do best, then that, to me, is a formula for success.
And that sounds so simple, but this of all years is the perfect year to go simple. I mean, you've been very limited in what you can and cannot do leading up to the season and into games. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's back up just a little bit, because on Saturday we had more than just our games. We had a youth camp in the morning as well. How much do you enjoy doing that stuff? Like, I know that's obviously huge with the Dream. That's a huge part of what we do. How much do you love being able to get out there and work on things with kids on the court?
I love it. I mean, the kids, that's the future. And, one of the things that we're trying to do is bring basketball back. There was a period of time when basketball was king in this area. I go back to the days of Du Bois Central Catholic, the House of Noise. They packed the house, and it was called the House of Noise for a reason. And then there was a period of time when people seem to lose interest in basketball. And when we can get these young kids out there, particularly when we get our players interacting with them, I mean, there's some really cute pictures. Our big 6'6" guy with a little toddler. But this player development is what we're all about. And yes, we can field a team. Yes, we can put a team out there on the floor and hopefully be competitive. But really, bringing basketball, the popularity of it back, getting kids involved in the game, teaching them the fundamentals early. I love it. I've always loved helping kids. It's so nice to, it's just wonderful as they advance and they learn things. It kind of warms your heart.
So I guess me coming not from Du Bois, what is the sport here? What do you guys say? Like, what is the most popular sport here?
Most popular sport's probably baseball.
Around this area?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then, baseball followed maybe by wrestling.
Okay.
Over on the other side of the mountain, maybe wrestling. But I think basketball is coming back. I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, we're continuing to build on it, so hopefully, I know Albert prides himself as like at least the area of Du Bois as a basketball town. So I really see that coming as well. I mean, these kids seems to be enjoying the camp. So yeah, we're doing all we can here to try to bring basketball back for sure.
Yeah, and it's great to be able to do this for Du Bois, but we were able to do it in Du Bois for the first time in about a year. I mean, you guys did some stuff over the summer, but as far as playing a game, hosting a youth camp, things like that, I mean, it's been a year. How nice was it, Rick, to be back in Du Bois for the first time in what feels like forever?
It was great. It was great. There's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes. And I want to compliment our off the court team. Ian's a key player on that. And Matt as well. Gail, Shirley, Samantha. We have such a great off the court team, such great community support, and yeah, it was great. Finally having a home game. I wish the outcome would have been better, but it's a work in progress, and every game we play, we learn so much, even if it's just about ourselves as a team. And I love our guys. I love our team. We get along great. We can have discussions without anybody pointing the finger. These are just great basketball minds. They know the game, and everybody's working together because the question becomes, what can we do as a team to get better? And that's all you can ask for. Just guys that work hard, that are playing for the good of the team.
Yeah. So, Coach, I understand that you're going to be giving us some shooting tips here in a minute. Before we go there and let Coach Rick do some coaching, do you have any other final thoughts from Saturday or anything that you're looking forward to this weekend in particular?
Well, this Saturday, looking forward to Saturday. This is our AAU registration, and I just want to make sure everybody understands how important this AAU is. The style of basketball that I talked about that was a real shocker for me. When you put together an AAU team, you get to go outside your comfort zone. You'll go to another area, and you'll see what. We're a rather small market here. I'll go back several years ago. Indianapolis at an AAU tournament in Morgantown brought 4 teams. It was Indianapolis A, B, C, and D. Indianapolis brought 4 teams, and this was when my daughter played AAU. They played the Indianapolis D team and got beat really bad, but it was an eye-opener. Indianapolis D had girls in my daughter's age group that could dunk it. And just the exposure to that. You take from a 5-county area playing AAU for the Du Bois Stream, they'll get to see what other kids their age can do. And in our area, and this is no fault of our area, it's just the way it is. The competition is not that great. You could be a mediocre point guard in a high school, and as long as there's nobody pushing you, you're just going to be content to be that point guard. Now, you get into a metropolitan area where there may be 10 kids that all want to be that point guard, and they're all striving to get better all the time. So to the AAU kids coming out, this is such a great opportunity for you, an opportunity to play, an opportunity to see what competition is like outside of your area, and it's an opportunity to grow. Historically, when basketball season ends, softball, baseball season starts, and a lot of these kids don't pick up a basketball till next fall. So I'm really encouraging them to come out, get involved in AAU. It's terrific. It's good basketball and great exposure.
Yeah, we've got a couple spotlights up on our website of AAU, former AAU players, and that's one of the biggest things that they've said is having the opportunity to play against other kids from outside of the area, very beneficial for them. So yeah, definitely check out the AAU program. Coach, that's all I have in terms of questions. So I'd love to get to those shooting tips if you're up for it.
Sure. I'm all for shooting tips. I mean, I love the game of basketball, but shooting is what I really love. And as far as shooting tips go, I encourage kids to learn to shoot correctly. Because here's what happens. If no one teaches a kid how to shoot a basketball correctly, they just see their siblings or the neighbor kid shoot, and they imitate how that kid shoots. And what happens lots of times, they develop what I call negative muscle memory. And I have seen kids that 14 years old that have I have to call it a terrible shot, but they can make the ball go in. They have just practiced incorrectly for so long that they've gotten pretty good at it. Now, if that 14-year-old comes to me and says, "Coach, I want you to teach me how to shoot correctly," it's a struggle, and I have to watch when I attempt to do this, because if they're on the brink of their basketball season, it would do more harm than good for me to try to step in and teach it. Most of the basketball shooting instruction that I do May through August, which is good. But a kid that learns, or that is basically up to age 14, a lot of kids are just throwers. They're going to throw the basketball. And what I have found is if a kid reaches age 14 and they're still a thrower, the probability of them finding another sport is very likely. They're not going to stick with basketball because there's too many kids their age that have learned to shoot, and now this throwing isn't going to cut it. So, I teach the fundamentals. The method that I use is tested and proven and very successful. And someone who follows my shooting program, they will improve tremendously. Just one example of that, we had a player come into training camp this year. He was a 64% free throw shooter. Not great, but he has worked at his free throw. And so when I do a baseline on every player, I know exactly where they are as far as the starting point. He was a 64% free throw shooter. And as of last week, he's now a solid 88% free throw shooter. So that's just because he's worked at it. Every practice he's working on his free throws. So so in a 90-day period, he went from 64% to 88%. And that's not likely to drop. That's not likely to drop. So it's just a matter, get the form down and then practice a lot. But make sure you're practicing the correct form. That's very important. But I love teaching kids how to shoot a basketball. It's very rewarding.
There you go. Some shooting tips from Coach Rick. Coach, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Thanks for the time. Good luck on Saturday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and we're about to sign off here from Ian and Matt. Make sure to come back next week for Dream Talk as well. Matt, do you have any final thoughts, comments?
No, I just appreciate everyone tuning in. Stay up to date with the Dream social media on the website. We've got another game, like we said, this weekend, so we'll have stuff out about that too. Obviously, we can't have a lot of people in the building. We wish we could, but the game will be live streamed. We'll have a recap on the website, so stay up to date. We wish you could be there, but we'll do our best to keep in touch until then, and hopefully we'll be together again soon.
Hey, thank you, Matt.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Ian.